Johnny Depp was defamed by Amber Heard. Does this mean we're returning to a more equal conversation about natures around gender and sex? Is this an example of misogyny? Is it a necessary redress? Does any of it even matter? Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining me on our channel where we talk about news, where we critique stories, particularly popular ones that dominate the media landscape, looking for new and unique angles, what's being said, what's not being said. In a subject like this, which is about people's personal lives, justice, gender relationships, and celebrity, we have an opportunity to look at where our culture is right now. Let me know in the comments below whether you think this stuff is significant, or what's really significant is that none of us talked about the trial of the Hillary Clinton's legal aid, or none of us talked about the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. Do these kind of stories function as a distraction, or do they have significance in them? Let me know in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe now. It really helps us when you subscribe to our channel. Now, so that we understand what's going on in this crazy little world of ours in infinite space with infinitesimally small subparticular data in the world of bosons, quarks, and leptons, the quantum field and its infinite mystery, the limitless multiverse, let's see what's going on right on this bit of reality where we live.
After 6 weeks of wild, intense, and yes, at times, shocking testimony in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it all came down today. Welcome to Entertainment Tonight. Michelle Turner is off.
Where's Michelle Turner at a time like this? Michelle, do you even care about news or entertainment or tonight?
After just 3 days of deliberations, the jury hands a stunning win to Johnny Depp.
Now, I know a lot of you, because you know we read the comments, we always read your comments, whether we're talking about corruption in the pharmaceutical industry, government ineptitude, or Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's private life and defamation, which is, I suppose, an interesting subject, the destruction of her reputation. It's interesting. We read your comments, so I know that there is something so innocuous and vapid about the whole coverage. Not that people's real emotions, Johnny Depp's real emotions, Amber Heard's real emotions, your real emotions are meaningless, but the lens that it's refracted through is so idiotic. It makes you wonder, like when you hear, oh, the average reading age is 10 or 12, you know, most of us don't ever get beyond the reading age of 12. That's where we stop. And I feel like the mental cages within which we are imprisoned are somehow polished and ornamented by stories of this nature, that these kind of tools of distraction, this kind of framing of reality, this constant reductivism and simplification is what leads to a life that's kind of hollow and empty. Because even if you're someone that's really invested, because I know in the comments below, some of you will say, I was in an abusive relationship with a person like this, and this is not about male-female dynamics, this is about pathological liars. It also definitely is not meaningful in your actual life, really. In your actual life, what Johnny Depp and Amber Heard do doesn't have any actual impact. You would be reminded of that if someone you really loved was in trouble, or if like the other day one of my cats was caught in a tree. It really took up a lot of my time. I got it back and I'm actually quite proud of myself. Unfortunately, it didn't make the news.
Amber looked down while the verdict was read and walked out of the courthouse with her sister, Whitney. Both Johnny and Amber released statements within seconds of the verdict. Johnny wrote, "The jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled."
Johnny Depp's played a blinder, let's face it. He's dressed well throughout the case. He's used sort of Gnostic and interesting language. The word heinous has come to the forefront. Let's not forget the moment where we all thought about whether or not a person pooed on a pillow for week after week. Johnny Depp has come across, I think, as a person that's somewhat bohemian and is doing as good a job as possible coping with the intoxicating and maddening world of celebrity, a world that when I occupied it, I felt delirious within. And even when I come face to face with it or interact with it now, it's something that makes me feel enervated and afraid. And I know people that are still part of that world, and some of them are really beautiful, bright, brilliant people that can make incredible things from their imagination, that have great gifts. It's not solely a commodified, empty spectacle, because the people within it are brilliant. People make brilliant content. People do brilliant things. But the ideals behind it are, in my opinion, so warped that it creates a peculiar landscape, and it's supposed to. That's its function, to create a kind of unreality, a hyper-reality that's disorienting, that you then use for coordinates in your own life, and you can never make sense of your own life because you see versions of reality that have excessive beauty and simplicity in them and very well and easily rendered emotions, even if they're negative ones. So your own life starts to feel very messy and entangled and unworthy. I don't think people are deliberately doing that. I think it's collective. In the same way that I would say that like the NFL or the NBA or the British EPL are fantastic things. Like the sport is amazing, so full of drama and richness, but they are undoubtedly commercialized and commodified to a degree that the actual meaning has somehow been lost, and the reality of the tribalism, the competition, the joy, the excellence is now sort of masked and lost within the spectacle.
Amber said, "The disappointment I feel today is beyond words."
We, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million.
Even though those figures, although enormous to most people, are probably irrelevant in that kind of context, a lot of people said it would be impossible for Johnny Depp to win a case like this because defamation is very difficult to prove. To prove that someone has cost you financially through their words and actions is difficult and has lots of abstractions. Those of you that are familiar with the case and watched loads of it, and I know a lot of people, smart people, I know that Joe Rogan, for example, was glued to it, will be super familiar with all that. That's hearsay and that's beyond the scope and that's diddle I try. All these weird little protocols and languages and jargon emerged around it because legality is a system. That's why in the real world, the law is a system, and we have to have faith that it is just and truthful, because here's an interesting idea. In my country, the UK, 80% of legal prosecutions can be resolved with a fine, because most things are like parking fines or driving infringements that can be resolved for a fine. That means that if you're wealthy, you can resolve most of those problems, and in essence, the law doesn't apply to you. There's yet another strata within law where if you have super lawyers, there are systems, means and methods for bypassing legal prosecution. I'm not suggesting that's what's happened here. This seems like an interesting case and an interesting taking of the temperature of the nature when it comes to male-female dynamics, innocent till proven guilty, as Johnny Depp himself said. But what I'm saying is, broadly, the law is not ubiquitously and universally applied. It is applied primarily to people that cannot afford to bypass it. It is a revenue generator for the state when you think again of minor infringements and infractions, driving, traffic, those kind of things. And it's accepted that there's a strata of society that can just afford to pay them. I have to say that I'm part of that. If I get a parking fine, I can afford it. I don't have to allow that to dominate my life. In the upper echelons of wealth, law can be evaded almost entirely. I mean, I'm sure you think that around some very high profile cases in the last few years. Again, not suggesting that's what's happened here. It seems to me that public opinion is broadly behind this.
Amber did win one of her 3 claims against Johnny and was awarded $2 million.
What I also think is, why is mass entertainment and mass news talking about something that's so sort of niche? Do you know what I mean? Like, some rich folks get in lots of money, like a lot of money there, 2 million or whatever. That's not relevant to you if you're working at Amazon, or if you're a driver for a living, if you're working with your hands, or even if you're me and used to work in entertainment. It's totally irrelevant to the deep cosmic realities, theological realities, biological, biochemical realities. How is it relevant? What does it mean? Well, the best I can get from it is it became a moment where a culture reviewed itself around gender dynamics. It became an analysis of the power of celebrity to some degree, and it demonstrates that all of the various spectacles, justice, Hollywood, stardom, culture war, are starting to intermingle in ways that are somewhat unpredictable and difficult to track, and for me most of all demonstrate a kind of a lack of centre here, and a need for a new moral centre, and a need for a kind of a revival of basic values. And what I mean by basic values is the way you relate to reality. My reality is, I'm married to this person, I have these children, I do this job, I go here, am I happy with these things? Are these things working for me? Conceptual reality, Hollywood, even the planet is conceptual to me. You know, we all laugh at flat earthers, don't we? But I only know the earth is round because I've been told, and all the maths has been explained to me, and people like Neil deGrasse Tyson have said they wouldn't fill NASA up with all those filing cabinets full of maths. But my reality is prescribed to me. So look at the reality that's been prescribed to you and see how it contrasts with your actual experiential reality. Does the culture war matter to you? Are you specifically actually being impeded upon? And I know some of you, the answer will be yes. Some of you will go, yeah, I'm a trans person and I'm being impacted in this way, or I'm an Orthodox Christian and I'm being impacted in this way. But not all of us, and not all of the time.
With the verdict in, a lot of people are wondering what's next.
Can't we get some sort of trial between Scarlett Johansson and Chris Pratt? Maybe we could say Chris Pratt stole a cat from Scarlett Johansson's mansion. At least that rhymes, as well as being a court case. The future will be made of rhyming court cases where robot judges dispatch justice with lasers.
The 36-year-old is expected to retreat to the California desert town where she's been raising her baby girl about 2 hours from L.A. Her future in Hollywood could be challenging, especially as a petition to have her removed from Aquaman 2 has almost reached its target with more than 4.4 million signatures.
Target? There's a target. We will remove her from Aquaman 2, but we need 4.6 million signatures. It's funny because we've got a petition up against the WHO treaty to be able to bypass national law in the event of another pandemic. And I think there are significant thresholds that have to be released, but not to have someone kicked off Aquaman 2. If you get to 9 million signatures, we will sew a real fishtail on instead of your feet.
And Johnny, he's leaning into his music.
I don't think you understand how music works. There's nothing there.
The actor who plays guitar in Dior's campaign for Sauvage is expected to keep riding a wave of popularity.
Oh my God, what a mad mesh of stuff. Because even Johnny Depp, who I sort of think is cool and amazing, is there being just stood in a desert with a wolf advertising a smell, which like he's an intelligent person. He must be just doing that, obviously, for money. The ideology of commerce and commodification just gets mapped madly onto everything. When you say that sentence, there's Johnny Depp in a desert playing a guitar at a wolf. Do you want this perfume? It doesn't make sense, does it? But that's reality now. So that sort of shows you can do what you want with reality. It's crazy.
According to one report, a bottle of the cologne he endorses was sold every 3 seconds in 2021.
Every 3 seconds, some perfume is bought. It's about a man in a desert playing a guitar at a wolf. Oh, there's another bottle. Oh, there's another bottle. Oh, we've noticed one thing. People like more perfume sold by men playing guitars at wolves during a trial. Get Chris Pratt in a mansion next to Scarlett Johansson. He steals a cat, but he don't stop at that. He sells a perfume that smells like an old man's hat. 50 pounds every 2 seconds. Welcome to reality, guys!
Sales reportedly rose in popularity in April, the same month the trial started.
Johnny wanted this case to clear his name.
Finally, a happy conclusion to a very difficult trial. Everything is right in the world. It's not like the WHO are trying to impose treaties on us that bypass our national law and could create a forever pandemic, while the never-ending war and proxy wars between Russia and America are played out in Europe. Oh no, that is happening.
He was clear from the start that he brought this lawsuit to tell his side of the story, and he wanted cameras in the courtroom so that the public could see that he was also a victim here and that much of what Amber Heard was saying was not true.
Well, there you go. That's the reality that we live in. Johnny Depp, a beautiful human being. Amber Heard, I'm sure also a beautiful human being. Justice, a peculiar piece of theatre. Some trials elevated to the level of unavoidable ubiquity. Other trials discreetly dealt with, never discussed. Interesting, the reality you're presented with. Hopefully as well, a little bit humorous. The big question is, what will the entertainment industry do now that this trial is over? They'll probably have to generate a new one. Watch out for Scarlett Johansson in her mansion, Chris Pratt and his cat, because I'm telling you, I sense something's going on there. Do you care about these kind of stories? Do you think it helped you to catharsize your own trauma, abuse, difficult relationships? Do you think that this demonstrates a change in the relationships between men and women and the presumption of innocence and guilt? Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Watch either one of these ones if you like this one. And please sign up to my mailing list. We do amazing events. We do weekly Zoom calls. We answer your personal questions. And we do live events with incredible people like Gabor Mate, Wim Hof, Vandana Shiva. We get deep into stuff. And if that's what you want, this is the place to do it. Stay free.